Hi everyone, you're watching the Virtual Amicus and I'm Jay Lodha. So the charm of foreign LLMs has always been not just because of the exposure that you get academically or culturally, but it is also the experience that goes a long way because you are taught under the top guidance of top academicians and scholars, and that experience is definitely truly of once in a lifetime. Joining us today on our special segment on foreign LLMs and in particular the Oxford L.L.M, which is not just one of the most prestigious universities, but also one of the toughest LLMs that it has to offer, are two notable alumni, two distinguished lawyers. And I'm so grateful to them that they decided and they went ahead and said yes for this session. So today we are joined by two eminent speakers. One is Mr. Amitabh Tewari, and currently he's practicing before Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court at the Chandigarh bench. And just to give you all a brief introduction about Amitabh, he's a fourth-generation lawyer who's practicing at Punjab and Haryana High Court at Chandigarh. He graduated from Government Law College back in 2014, and thereafter he completed his bachelor's in civil laws from University of Oxford. Subsequently, thereafter he worked in the dispute resolution department of Sri Amarchand Mangaldas, Mumbai, and Wadia Gandhi and Company in Delhi before starting his independent chambers in Chandigarh in 2018. He's also junior standing counsel for the Union Territory of Chandigarh in the Central Administrative Tribunal, Chandigarh, and has rich and diverse experience across various sectors of law, including not only limited to civil law, criminal law, corporate law, but also service law, sports law, and real estate law. And joining us today, along with Mr. Tewari, is another distinguished corporate attorney. We are joined by Ms. Gayatri Chadha. And just to give you all a brief introduction about her, she's currently a managing associate with Talwar Thakur and Associates, and she's been there for the past 6 years in Mumbai. Talwar Thakur is best friends firms with Linklaters, and prior to that, she worked as a paralegal with Talwar Thakur at the same place. She's done her master's degree in B.C.L. from University of Oxford, and she did studied law from Government Law College, Mumbai. So thank you so much, guys, for taking out time for doing this session for us. So it's always an applicant's right to have a dream to make it to this top law school, but unfortunately, 80% of the dreams are crushed, not because of lack of guidances, but because of lack of counseling, because there aren't many people to help them out with the administration procedure. So on the virtual amicus, it was always been our duty to help you, assist you with the best of guidances that we have for you. So anything that you wish to say before we start with our Q&A segment? Amitabh first.
Yeah, hi Jay. So we really both of us thank you for having us, and this is a good opportunity. I remember when both of us were trying to figure out the LLM, we didn't have too many people to guide us, and we didn't have these webinars or online places where we could go and ask these questions. So I think this is a good initiative by you, and we are very grateful to be here. And I think we are here to answer all the questions, and hopefully this will help the budding lawyers plan out their LLM in the future.
Fantastic. And Gayatri, anything that you wish to say before we start?
Thank you so much, Jay, for those kind words, and thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And we are so, like Amitabh said, I think when we were studying, there was a lack of such platforms, and it's such a great initiative by you. And we are so happy to be here and contribute to this.
Very well. Thank you so much for all the kind words. Really means a lot to me and my entire team. And we can quickly start with our Q&A segment. So question number one, at what stage of LLB, which is the undergrad course in India, did you decide to study further and pursue the master's program?
So for us, I think so both of us applied at the same time since we were batchmates, and we went, luckily we also got an offer together. So we pursued the B.C.L. at the same time. I think for us, it was a very last minute decision. So unlike all the LLM aspirants, we did not plan it from day one, from our first year of college. It was sort of towards our end of our fourth year, yeah, and the beginning of our fifth year that we actually decided, okay, why don't we just give it a try? Why don't we just apply and see where we get to? And that's I think that was when we actually decided. When.
So I think you can say fourth year and beginning fifth year.
Yeah.
When we actually, I think, took a conscious call of trying to apply to foreign universities for the LLM. And the fifth year, I think we guys just worked towards that essentially. And luckily, we were able to crack most of the colleges we applied to, and we both got into Oxford. So yeah, so to answer the question in a nutshell, it was start of fifth year and end of fourth year. when we actually decided to pursue the LLM.
Okay, so to sum it all up, I think towards the end of fourth year was when you started, your application procedure. Very
Actually, yeah, and the applications start only in like September and October for some of the colleges. So the decision was made, I think 2-3 months before that, and obviously we prepared towards that in in that buffer period, so that we had well in place for the application procedure by September, October. But it was just in the beginning of our 5th year, like Amitabh said.
Very well. Now going ahead with our next question. If in a nutshell, you could tell us when is an applicant required to start with the preparation, the application procedure, what all is required for the same in terms of the prerequisites. Now, obviously, when I talk about prerequisites, I'm referring to a robust CV, a statement of purpose, which is obviously very important, good grades, it's their importance, internships that are required subsequently to build a solid resume or a solid application for the purposes of getting and securing an admission at Oxford.
So to when an applicant is required to start the preparation is a very personal choice. Like we said in the first question, we both started in the end of fourth year and beginning 5th year. There are, I think, many aspirants who might be coming into law school with the aim of pursuing LLM also. So they might be starting way early. So this is a very personal choice. I think I personally feel that one can, depending upon the internship, depending upon what they want to do in the future, they can take a call as to when they want to do the LLM. So someone may want to do an LLM after working. Some people want to go immediately. So that really depends on person to person when they actually decide, depending on what they want to do. And regarding the requirements now, so I think the UK and the US are a bit separate. In the UK, the grades are given a lot of importance. So your grades, like you said, you have to be, personally for Oxford, I think you need to be in the top 5% of college. And that goes the same for all the other universities in the UK as well. And you need to have very good grades. You need to have excellent recommendations. You need to have the SOP. The SOP, again, for Oxford, at our time, it was a 300-word SOP.
Yeah, 250.
250-word SOP, where you need to be very clear and crisp as to what you want to do, why you want to do, and how you want to do it. And
so SOP is in fact a very important part of your application, because that's your statement of purpose, right? So they look at it very closely. And with Oxford, the challenge is that because of the crunch in the number of words, you have to be very, very crisp, as Amitabh said, that you have to be very short and very crisp with why you want to do it, and what are you going to achieve, what are your plans after that. So yeah.
And the internships and whatever you do in your 5 years should reflect that SOP.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel. You need to, if you want to do, say, public law, you want to get into, government policy, your CV should have that impact also. You should have done some work in the policy sector. You should have done some work in public law. So those are the things which are important. But I think the most important thing is the SOP and the grades. The grades are the most important thing.
For UK.
For UK.
Because it's very academic oriented.
And if someone wants to go after working, then I think your recommendations with your employer, they matter a lot, in addition to the grades as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so broadly, I think the grades are really very important. You guys you were in top 5, so therefore you stood a strong chance. And when Gayatri mentioned about SOP and its importance, it has to be well worded, it has to be precise and concise, and there has to be a concrete plan that it reflects. That okay, this is what I want to do post my master's program at Oxford. And somewhere also, I think the interest in academics also has to be seen. I think
sure. You need to have an academic bent. Yes.
So
academic bent, academia, career in academia is also something that is important for UK, right? Inverted commas.
Yeah.
Even for US, I think it's a SOP is common across all jurisdictions. But I think for UK, because especially if you're applying immediately after grad, it's given a lot of importance, because you have your grades to judge you by, and then you have your SOP, which is obviously, like we mentioned, that it has to be a blend of your academics, of why you want to do your LLM, what do you want to do post your LLM. So I think it has to be a good culmination of all these points.
Fantastic. So valuable insights coming into all the viewers who are watching, the importance of grades, the importance of a robust CV, and the most important thing, the SOP. and how it has to be
I
worded?
would say the clarity of thought.
Yeah.
Clarity of thought. The
Yeah.
key words. Very well. Now going ahead with our next question. Did you shortlist any of the law schools other than Oxford, and why you narrowed it down to Oxford? I mean, there are so many of them across jurisdictions.
Yeah, so I think like I mentioned before, our decision was pretty much very last minute, and we were very specific and clear about what our jurisdiction is going to be. So we were only looking at UK, and we were not looking at US or Singapore or
Australia,
Europe
maybe.
or Australia. Yeah, we were not looking at any jurisdiction because of the common law background as well. So we were very specific for UK, and even in the UK, we just chose a handful of colleges. So we focused on Oxford and Cambridge, of course, because of the heritage and the nature of the course. Then we also chose LSC and UCL, which offered really good courses. UCL is
they're the best London colleges in UK. So these were the top 4 colleges which we chose, and I think we got Oxford, and we narrowed it down to Oxford for the sole reason that it was academic in nature, and we won't be mincing our words when we say that obviously Oxford is Oxford at the end of the day. It has a brand value, it has an alumni supporting it. So those were the factors which got us more attracted to Oxford than other places.
And B.C.L is one of the oldest courses, oldest master's courses in the world. So Oxford was definitely like a no-brainer for us.
Yeah.
So one reason was obviously the prestige value, that the weight that the Oxford carried. The other was the academic value, the prestige level that the course had to offer. So this was one of the reasons why you guys had, narrowed it down to Oxford.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Now, going ahead, as far as the master's program at Oxford University is concerned, so what are the courses that are available? Is BCL one out of these courses that the Oxford University has to offer? And which ones would you recommend, or is it just a personal choice?
So Oxford has the BCL and the MJur. The BCL is for students from common law background, and the MJur is for students from the civil law background. Essentially, the subjects are the same. There's absolutely no difference. They are, you can just, you can call, we did the BCL, but we could have easily done the MJur as well. But because we are from a common law background, we can't do it. So it is a very technical distinction over there. Other than that, they have, I think, a course in Masters in Criminology as well. I'm not so sure if they have it now, but at our time they didn't have it, and they even had something called Masters in Law and Finance. So which is mostly into the business side of everything. And the subjects which are available, they have a general LLM. There's no specialization as such in Oxford. You can choose your public law courses, comparative public law, comparative constitutional law. These are public law courses, and there is private law as well, where you can do contracts and remedies and injunctions. There's also criminal side, they have evidence to it, and they have arbitration on the private side again. And they have some policy cases, also policy subjects also on negotiation, mediation, etc., etc. So yeah, it actually depends what you really want to do. They even have the corporate side, they have corporate law and finance. So they have a good mix of many subjects which you can cater to your own needs, and you can you can not specialize, but you can choose 4 subjects and essentially specialize as well. So yeah, this is, and why the BCL, I think I already alluded to it by saying that it is one of the oldest courses that has a great prestige value, and it has a tutorial system where the courses are very interactive. The classes are they're not that big, so the courses are interactive, and you're taught by the best in the business.
Yeah. And I think just to add to that, like Amitabh mentioned, the amount of subjects and courses that Oxford offers is just huge. So, I mean, even when you have to select what subject do you want to choose and what subject do you want to read, it's a very difficult choice. So you have everything that you could possibly learn in law. So that way, I think you get a wide variety, and you can cater it to whatever you want. So we chose a mix of actually
private law subjects and public law subjects. Yeah, we did a general LLM, and I think because we had gone right after college, it was a bit of a disadvantage because we really didn't know what we wanted to do as such, right? But we could see that the clarity of thought in those people who had already worked for many years. They were very clear that 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the subjects we'll do. But again, that's a very personal choice. So these are the courses available, and it's, the B.C.L is a great place, great course to do, and the Oxford is one of the best places to do it.
Yeah, and especially something like we do not a subject that we do not get to study in law school in India, or
especially in
otherwise,
GLC,
for example, especially in GLC, for example, medical law and ethics was one of the subjects that we chose, and it was just such a different subject to read, to learn about, and it was so vast. Like we wouldn't even imagine that there is a whole world out there of medical law as well. So I think it gives you it offers very unique courses, and it gives you a great platform to choose from.
So I think, BCL gave you that liberty to opt for different subjects, and it is a type of a general LM, what I could gather.
Yeah.
Very well. Now, when you talk about, the course that the Oxford University has to offer, how rigorous was the course at Oxford? If you could talk about the examination pattern, the lectures that were conducted there in a nutshell, and how different is it from the courses that are otherwise taught?
Yeah. So the B.C.L is a very intense course. I would say that it's I think one of the most rigorous courses, LLM courses there is to do. You have it works on a weekly basis. So we have a reading list that per subject that we need to work on, we need to read. And that reading list is exhaustive. It's extremely exhaustive. You have commentaries, you have your papers, your publications that are written by legal luminaries that you need to read on. And then before every lecture, you're meant to read those reading lists. Obviously, one cannot finish the entire reading list because it's so exhaustive. But the idea is to read as much as you can. And then, of course, you come prepared for your lecture. So you have to do that background reading. Once the lecture starts, it's obviously based on the reading list, and it's pretty interactive. So it is very unlike what a typical lecture in an Indian school would be, law school. It is very interactive. You have to interact with your professor all the time, and each and every one. And of course, because not everybody is going to take the same subject. So the group can be either really small or can be either really big, depending on what subject you take. So for example, like I said, medical law, I think it was a bunch of us as compared to commercial remedies that we took, which was like, I think around 50 odd students. Despite that, you are meant to be interactive during your lecture. So that way it's a very different experience, and it's a very nice experience. And after you're done with your lectures, you have a bi-weekly tutorial system where you have a one-to-one with your tutor. So the professor who's teaching you, he'll give you a topic. You need to write an essay on that topic, and then you need to discuss that with your tutor one-to-one during that 1 hour tutorial. So that way, it always keeps you on top of your reading material, your subjects, and on top of obviously the issue. And those tutorials are very, very helpful because they give you an insight of what is your understanding of an issue, what is your perspective of a legal theory that has come up. So that way, it's very useful, and because it's obviously one-on-one, it just adds to that. I think the perspective that these tutors give you during that tutorial is very different from what you will even get in their lecture. So I think that's what makes the B.C.L very different from the other law courses, and of course very intense and rigorous too.
I would not like to add anything. I think she has added everything there is to add in the kind of study we have to do over there.
Yeah, and I think to add to what Gayatri said, I think she made some remarkable, points with respect she highlighted the importance of communication and how there is a one-on-one interaction that takes place not just with the tutor but also with the professor. So few children in a classroom, and such interactions happening, obviously it immensely benefits everybody. And then
even like the professors over there are very approachable. So you can approach them at any time, even before our exam, during the course, after the lecture. They're happy to sit with you and just have a 15 minutes chat. So that's a very good thing. So the professors are also very, very approachable. And these are all distinguished jurists and law firm partners, some of them, and practicing attorneys and barristers. So the alumni is very strong.
I can assure you, otherwise, not every professor is that approachable here in India. So I'm glad that that approachability was there at Oxford. Now,
Yes.
when we talk about so the master's program, and now that you're done with your master's program, did it benefit you here when you move back and you move to India? Would you like to share any memorable experiences from campus life, the journey at Oxford University, spending 1 year there, the lessons that you've learned, the mistakes that you made, anything that you wish to share you think is important for the viewers?
I think this is the most important question for everyone, because I personally feel that it does benefit you, not in a direct sense, but an indirect sense. Your ability to learn, your ability to analyze improves considerably. But if you're looking at it from a pure financial aspect, from a pure job perspective, then it doesn't benefit you that much, right? So you cannot be sure that just because you're from Oxford, you'll 100% get a high-paying job in India. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. I think Gayatri will be able to answer that question much better, because she stayed in the corporate side way more than I have. But in terms of litigation, it really helps you to understand something. It helps you to correlate different aspects of law and understand the intricacies of law and put forth an argument. So, and it helps you in the long run. There will not be I can't pinpoint a direct impact. Obviously, there's also the impact of the degree itself, where people also have more confidence in you. People also, they trust you more with their work because of the degree. But in terms of direct impacts, I think I can't put my finger on it clearly.
Yeah, and I think he summed it up very well. I think there is no, there is more indirect impact than the direct impact. But definitely it helps you analyze and read the law way better. It gives you that exposure, and it gives you that global exposure, right? Even when you're interacting with the students, you get to learn from their jurisdiction. What is the legal system in their jurisdiction? Of course, the professors as well. So I think it broadens your horizon. It definitely gives you a clarity of thought.
It helps you grow, yeah.
Definitely helps you grow. So I think it's more of a personal exposure than like a financial exposure as such. So obviously, see, nobody can guarantee you a high-paying job in today's day and world, for sure. So, but it definitely adds value. It's a great value add. It's a great experience to have. And I think you should definitely, like my personal, whenever I speak to law students or just colleagues, I definitely recommend a master's. I don't think you should look at it very narrowly, like what financial advantage or what other advantage will it give. It will definitely help you in the long run. No matter the law school, I think master.
Yeah, the mistake which I think a lot of people do make is they go into an LLM looking for a job. Now, if you do that, that will then lead to disappointment, because then that's a very important thing which one must keep in mind before applying for the LLM. It's not going to help you that much to get a job anywhere. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think memorable experiences, your master's program in itself, I think gives you a lot of good memories. You make really good friends that stay on with you for your life. The experience of staying in a different country, definitely, like, we went very young, I feel, immediately after graduation. So it definitely gave us some life teaching skills, for sure.
22 and 23 when we went. So we were very young when we went. And I think Oxford itself, you get into the entire atmosphere, into the entire history of the place.
Yeah.
and that adds to the entire experience.
It's a student town, and the vibe of a student town, I think, is very different. Obviously, London has its own charm, and I'm sure the US and other jurisdictions, Singapore, other jurisdictions have their own charm. But I think Oxford had a very, it's a student town, it had a very good charm to it. And of course, the heritage of the colleges. Now, within the university, there are various colleges, and you get allocated to a college in Oxford that you attend to. And the heritage from each and every college is quite
Different,
rich. So my college, I had Benazir Bhutto, who was a past alumni. Yeah. So that way, yeah, the heritage is very good. A lot of memorable experiences on campus, of course, with the professors during lectures. So I think it's very hard to pinpoint to one particular instance. I think the experience as a whole is quite enriching.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm sure every day at the Oxford University must have been really very memorable. And to all the viewers who are watching, it is very important to understand that these LLMs are not platforms that ensure jobs to you. So don't please go with that mindset. Don't apply with that mindset. 2, it helps in value addition. 3, you will definitely have an academic edge over others once you move, either to back to your country or somewhere else. And 4, there are certain things that you do for your own benefits. Right? This helps in your own growth. When you were on your own in an alien country, in an alien atmosphere where you don't know anybody, so that experience also teaches you a lot in life. So this was to sum it all up. And going ahead with our next question, this is my personal favorite, and I actually look forward to asking this every time I host or record a session. What would be your piece of advice to all the young law graduates who wish to apply to Oxford for an LLM or B.C.L?
I think it's not only not only for Oxford. Whenever you apply for a master's degree, I think you need to, first of all, again, like we said before, don't go into the LLM thinking of it as a job opportunity, right? If that is out of the way, then I think you'll really have a lot of fun over there, because you'll make friends, you'll meet people from different cultures, and you'll learn different things from other people. And the advice is, I think, just to go have fun. Yeah, as for me, just go have fun, just enjoy yourself, study hard, and party harder. Yeah, but do not. I think, again, I always say this to everyone: don't think of it as a job opportunity, because then you'll be severely disappointed.
Yeah, and a master's in law is very different from, say, a master's in business administration, like an MBA. So there's no, you don't have to study for a score, you don't have to give an exam, you have to just cater your CV, you have to cater, obviously you need to have very strong academic credentials. So I think that you need to prepare for it a little in advance, and definitely not with the mindset of, oh, what placement am I going to get? Oh, am I going to end up in a high paying job in overseas? Like for me, I was always sure that I want to come back to India after working. So I went with a very, very different mindset that, yeah, I want to go back to my own country and I want to work there. So for some people, they wanted to do a doctorate, they wanted to do a PhD later on, they wanted to do MPhil, they wanted to do a DPhil. And Oxford also is, because the degree is so academic and the place that it is, it gives you that freedom to pick and choose. It's a very academic degree. So you can pursue a MPhil, you can pursue a DPhil, you can pursue, and then you can also apply for a placement to any of the law firms.
And they have a placement cell. They actually help you to find jobs. But like I said, a lot of people go with this mindset that I get into X college, which will lead me to a Y job.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So the advice is basically
go there
for growth and for learning rather than for a job. If a job comes with it, well and good. If it doesn't, you've still gone there for the purpose you've gone there for.
Yeah. And go there and just experience and just decide for yourself what you want to do. I think that's just the best thing that you can do. Just prepare for your master's. Just decide, make a decision first. Just prepare a little towards it, and then once you land up there, just go with the flow. Is what we'll say.
Yeah, so there's a very distinguished lawyer who featured on my channel, and he had certain really very interesting observations about the master's program. And this is what he said: that it's not an extension of your 5 years course. I mean, you work first and then eventually you opt for it. But then I think you guys have a totally different take, which I really respect. And the point that you're trying to make is not everything should go planned. So there are certain things that you do for your own benefits, for your own experiences. And there you have a placement cell that, and then never go with that mindset that you'll secure, and that X course will secure Y job for you, because that might not happen for you. It might not go as planned for you. So I think really
Yeah.
very important points that were made by our speakers.
And
And
I think that you touched upon doing a master's after a few years of work-ex, I think that also has a huge amount of advantage to it. Now that I've worked in the corporate sector, and I think Amitabh has worked in litigation, I feel, especially in the corporate sector, I feel that by working, you get a lot more knowledge, obviously a practical exposure of issues that you wouldn't as a law student. So even if law students want to consider that as well, I think that will give you a very good niche. It will give you a break from your
I would
work.
prefer, in hindsight, I would have gone after working.
Yeah.
I would have done that. Yes.
Yeah. So I think both things, like the mindset we went with was we want to finish our studying and then just start working. We wanted to just get done with our education once and for all, and then just start working. But I think even if you go after a few years of work experience, it's definitely has
its own advantages.
Its own advantages, absolutely.
well, the mindsets could be different, but what is important is clarity of thought. So
Absolutely.
that is what makes all the difference. You could do it immediately after your undergrad, or you can do it after you work for 2-3 years and then subsequently decide. It's totally up to you, and these are personal calls. Now, yeah, anything that you were saying something, Amita?
No.
Right? Okay, so now this question is directed to all the applicants who are not as privileged and who belong to humble backgrounds. So anything that the Oxford University has to offer in the form of any scholarship or any financial help benefits?
Yeah, so Oxford, the advantage of Oxford is it's a university, right? So you get allotted to a college. So every college has its different scholarships to offer. So when you're filling in your application, you can obviously give your college preference. You can also give a preference for scholarships. Then they consider you from that perspective as well. Even if you don't opt for scholarships, there's a high chance that you get a scholarship. Obviously, the Rhodes Scholarship is the most famous scholarship of Oxford. That's a fully financed course. There are also other scholarships that are offered by legal universities, like Hari Salve, for example. Mr. Hari Salve
has a scholarship, especially for
criminal
students.
law.
No, for students who are going to Exeter College. So every college has a specific number of scholarships. So if you apply to that college, you will be considered for those scholarships, in addition to the university scholarships, which are also there for everyone. And you don't need to apply separately for the scholarships, depending on your, that is what I think it was during our time. Depending on your application, they'll consider you for the appropriate scholarship. Yeah.
And then, of course, there are your outside college scholarships also that you can opt for. There are a lot of foundations. There are a lot of
in India itself who help you to get some
multinational companies who do offer
certain financial aids.
Like
KC Mahindra has one, Tata has one.
So they have an interest-free loan system. So that's also an option for students looking for financial help. So they do offer you a loan which is interest-free, and you can repay it after you've completed your scholarship. Obviously, there is an application procedure for each of these scholarships. You need to
go to the websites and just see
check out their application procedure. At our time, there were different institutions had different criteria. So they had an essay to write, they had a questionnaire to fill, then they had interviews to give. So I think it really depends on the institution that you go in for. So that's a benefit of Oxford. Apart from Oxford, even in the UK, there is
the Commonwealth Scholarship.
The Commonwealth Scholarship is there. Then LSE has something, because we applied to LSE and I was fortunate to get a scholarship from the British government. So the British government had offered a scholarship to a handful of Indian students. So they waive off their tuition fee. So there are different categories of scholarships: tuition fee, living expenditure, fully funded, and obviously every scholarship has a different procedure. And those are also very rigorous applications. I think they are as rigorous as your master's applications, your LLM applications. There are interview rounds, and you then decide where you want. You can apply to multiple, you can apply to a handful. So there is a whole world out there. These scholarships.
Also, I think INLACS is also there.
Yeah.
At our time, there used to be INLACS scholarship also, which was again fully funded. So I think this
scholarship. There are many.
Just you need to go to the website of Oxford or any other college, and you'll have a brief of all scholarships they are offering. Yeah.
Yeah. So So I think there's a wide array.
Perfect. So to all the viewers who are watching, make sure that you do your research thoroughly, exhaustively, before you apply. Look for all these financial aid programs, scholarships available both on and off the campus that Oxford has to offer, that other colleges have to offer, and then accordingly plan it out. So don't feel disheartened in case if you don't afford the fee at Oxford, because there are certainly certain, these programs that are available. There are institutes, there are NGOs, there are multinationals, and there are so many foundations as well, run by law firms and councils, senior councils. So I'm sure something will work out for you. And talking about, this is one question that every parent has in mind, and very they're very bothered about this. Does it guarantee the university a hostel accommodation on campus, or you have to look for your own accommodation or find your own accommodation?
So in this, I was very fortunate that I was able to get accommodation on campus for my college, but I think Gayatri had to look for something outside. So I think I did not really research much because I got accommodation, but I think you'll be able to answer this.
Yeah, so Oxford does not guarantee on-campus accommodation. Obviously, whatever college you have been allotted, they have their on-campus accommodations. It's not like Oxford University per se has something. It's like in GLC, you have a university campus, right? In Oxford, you don't have a university campus, but you have a college campus. And that's why your college becomes relevant, because they offer you your accommodation. So Amitabh was fortunate to get on-campus accommodation. I wasn't, because for me, in my colleges, there were only one seat from B.C.L and two for MJO, the civil law course that Amitabh had mentioned before. So there were 3 seats in total, and it was very difficult. Now, we don't know what do they look at while allotting. I think I'm not sure what do they actually look at while allotting accommodation to you, but the key is to apply before. I think I was a little late for applying for my accommodation, and Amitabh was very prompt in his. So I think that may be the reason for me not bagging on-campus accommodation. But I got something which was also very nice. It was on campus. It was an international student house. And they had all students from different courses in Oxford. So it was a private accommodation, but not so private. Like, it was all university people, and it was a very good accommodation. So so you will definitely land up in accommodation. It's impossible not to land up in accommodation because it's a student town. All students are going to come. So the key definitely is to apply for your accommodation
as early as possible,
if you want an on-campus accommodation.
So be prompt with your applications. Try, doing it beforehand if possible, so that Oxford obviously does not guarantee an accommodation, but then you can be prompt with your application procedure so that you get the best possible accommodations that are available. Now, on a lighter note, I thought only Mumbai has international students house, but then you mentioned that ISH exists in Oxford as well.
Yeah, something like that. And it was my accommodation, touchwood, was very good. And it was very safe also, because even obviously my parents were worried about private, but it's a very safe town, Oxford, and the accommodation even outside of campus is very safe and nice.
Fantastic. So, safe accommodation there, safety standards. Going ahead with our next question, talking about the placement situation, the placement landscape, how's the placement situation there at the moment because of the pandemic? Do you think that it has hit?
During I don't know what is the current status right now, but during our time we were supposed to come back as soon as the course ended. So there was no opportunity you had to come back to India, then get a work visa. Right. So it was always problematic. We had to, as soon as the course ended, we had to come back to India. And like we alluded to before, there is no guarantee of a job back home also or abroad after the LLM. So the placement scene is not very attractive, as I would say, for a job in a law firm, right? So yeah, this, I think we've already answered this question. But
I think I would just like to differ a little from Amitabh on this. So we have all the law firms. So we have a specific week where all the law firms come and they give it's called a law fair week, or something like that, where all the law firms come and they present. You have the opportunity to meet the HR heads during that week. You apply for all your jobs, whatever job you want to apply for. They answer your questions about the law firm, the practice area, what you would want to do. So I think that way it sort of gives you that interaction with law firms and for your placements. And if you also work a little well in advance, you can always speak to your employer. There are a lot of law firms sponsor your work visa. Obviously, when you bag a job, the law firm only sponsors your work visa in most cases. I don't know if that has changed now, but at that time, that was the case. And we know people who did end up
getting
jobs, not only in the UK, but otherwise also in other jurisdictions. So it's not impossible. It is difficult. I think in any other law school, it's obviously UK as a market also. It's difficult. It's competitive. But if you plan in advance and if you work towards, some law firms have a criteria of scoring a 2-1 in your degree. So, just having that dialogue with the right people before really helps facilitate that job process. And even at the start of your degree, there are a lot of law firms which come during a particular week and they give you insights about life after an LLM. And even during your course, you keep getting all these, the law firms keep visiting and they keep having these talks. So the opportunity is there, the platform is there. So you can if you want to. And it's anybody's luck, I feel, after that.
Ultimately, it's your luck, no matter how much you plan. And lastly, what are the visa requirements as far as the application procedure is concerned? What kind or type of visa is required for the same?
Yeah, during our time, I think we had a 9-month student visa. So 1 year student visa, but 1 year student visa. And the application procedure is they need all the transcripts. They need your financial bank statements. They need, if it's a loan, then the bank has to verify it. They have to give a letter. So all these requirements, I think, change on a yearly basis. So during our time, it's not that difficult to get a visa. If the financial side is taken care of, they will give you a visa. It's not a problem to get a visa, and it's a student visa for 1 year. I think nowadays they give you an opportunity to work also afterwards. But during our year, it was 1 year visa. That's it. A student tier 4 visa, I think, was the one which we got.
So in UK, some colleges also have a dissertation process. So after your degree has ended, you need to stay for some time to finish your dissertation, to submit your dissertation. And if you opt for that, then obviously, so they keep that leeway in some cases. Like if you make that submission in your visa application, they keep that leeway. So they give you a couple of months extra. I know people who have got around 1.5 years, even 2 years in some case, of a student visa. Obviously, you can't work on that visa, but then that gets converted if you have to, if you land up a job. So I think, and there's obviously a visa interview. The process, I think Amitabh has already touched upon. So all the documentation is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so this is, I think, on the website of the visa VFS and Oxford L.L.M. Every college will help you out. They'll keep on giving you emails. They'll keep on sending you emails on what is required. I think you need to do an IELTS course. You need to get a certain bandwidth over there. And then you need to follow, you have to get a tuberculosis test as well. So there are certain requirements which you need to meet before getting the visa. Yeah. So yeah, this is the long and short of it in terms of the visa process.
So I think more or less is available on the website. So to all the viewers who are watching, try going through the entire website, and then obviously the professors will be in touch with you they are always there to help you, assist you, guide you with the admission procedure. Now that the speakers have pointed out, the mic has pointed out that you were issued 1 year student visa. And what if you fail? You have to apply for an extension.
No, thankfully that didn't happen.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Uh,
that I'm sure university is sweet enough to accommodate given the prestige value it has to carry. And
Yeah.
yeah.
anything that you guys wish to say before we wrap this up, because we've already taken 45 minutes of your busy schedule. Uh,
Nothing but just thank you for having us. That's it. And hopefully this will clarify some doubts for all the aspirants and it'll help them in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jay, for giving us this opportunity. And as we said in the beginning, I think it's a great platform. We didn't have something like this in our law school, and just to have something like this, which sort of gives you direction, really helps young lawyers, budding lawyers. So we really hope that this provided some insight and this was helpful.
Fantastic. So there you go. To all the viewers who are watching, two notable, illustrious, distinguished alumni from the very prestigious Oxford University sharing their experiences, talking about their journey at Oxford University, from the admission procedure, how to apply, what kind of visa is issued, to their experiences, to the examination pattern. We covered everything. They never had a mentor. So, now you are so fortunate that you have two. Feel free to write to us. Our email is mentioned on the channel, and we'll be more than happy to forward it to our speakers for today's session. And in case of any of the doubts, feel free to write to us. You can write to them directly as well. So thank you so much, Amitabh and Gayatri, for taking out time from your busy schedules, doing this session on the Oxford University for us. It is your dream. To all the viewers who are watching, it is your dream to have Oxford in mind, and it is our duty to give you the best of guidances and best of assistance that we can. So thank you so much, guys. Once again, it's goodbye for now.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Thanks.